the role of mouse biology going forward. I mean, we have seen the Kafatos lecture a couple of weeks ago, and of course the speaker this year was Hans Clever, which was all about organoids and these, systems that, promise to replace some of the in vivo organismal biology. So what's your view on that? I mean, how do you see that the mouse biology still has some mileage, or perhaps you're switching yourself to some of these approaches?
I don't see why we have to choose. And in fact, I think the point is not to choose and actually to use each system for what it's good for. And I'm excited about organoid research. I have an enormous respect for Clevers and others who are really developing these diversity in a dish type of micro tissues. You can certainly dissect certain cell-cell interactions much more easily in a dish than you can in an animal, where you have to kill the animal or invade the animal in order to understand what's going on. But I think ultimately it's going to be very difficult for the translation of the research that we do, whether it's in the dish or in molecular terms, directly into translation into a drug without some safety tests. And I'm very concerned about what's happened recently in the United States, where the Food and Drug Administration has lifted the necessity for an animal test for drugs, so that in theory you can go directly from a human cell in a dish, a human organoid in a dish, to a drug for a patient. And my concern is that inevitably there will be a problem. We've seen this over and over again. There's always problems with translating into humans. And what would be a particular tragedy would be if something happened that would be so unfortunate that it would set science back, the way it did on several occasions when aspects of our work in, for instance, viral therapeutics backfired. So we want to try not to have that happen again for very practical reasons. Otherwise, we get shut down.
Yeah.
And so I think the work that's being done in multi-cell organismal type of organoid research is fantastic, and it's fascinating. And I was just yesterday in the lab of one of my ex-postdocs, who's now at Rome La Sapienza, Antonio Musaro, who has the most extraordinary results with organoids and looking at muscle and heart. And I'm super excited about this. So there's no reason to choose. We should use everything we have, including machine learning and artificial intelligence, to extract information that we can get more easily if we have a more limited system like a microtissue or an organoid.